As sim racers, we all know the drill. Practice, practice, and practice. Come race day, you qualify, cross your fingers, and hope for the best. But sometimes, racing other cars or hot lapping just gets a bit stale. So today, we're throwing in some high-octane Forza-style chaos into our daily sim racing routine. Today, we're in Assetto Corsa and looking to answer a question absolutely nobody asked. Which is quicker, a car or a plane? Now this is the plane in question. An old, single-prop junker from a time before sliced bread was a thing. The engine of these death traps would typically produce around 300 to 400 horsepower, which would allow them to reach a top speed of around 160 kilometers per hour. Back in its prime, this thing was probably used for mail or cargo transport until becoming obsolete and being sold to a man with a racing obsession. This man's name is Hans. And Hans, with his newly acquired plane, would challenge any wannabe racing driver foolish enough to accept to a duel on the local roads. Our mission? Find the slowest car that can beat this antique in a lap around Feldberg. And here are the contenders. We'll start with some grocery getters, and with every failure, we'll move up to something faster until we finally find a winner. Okay, time to stop beating around the bush. Let's go racing. First race of the day. We're lined up on the start line, waiting for Hans to get his piece of junk moving, and there he goes. We are making our little Honda scream, but it's all for the greater good, so I'm not too worried. We do have to let the plane go first, because we're just not gonna split the road in the first turn, and that thing needs all the help it can get to take off. The balls on that guy. You can't really call this a runway. Alright, we're approaching the town fast. The town of Oberreifenberg. Down this very steep hill, we have to be very careful and brake early for the sharp left just after the church. And as we head out of town, let me tell you a bit about the car. It's a 1988 Honda Prelude. 2-liter, naturally aspirated inline-4 engine, putting out about 135 horses or so. But the best thing about this car, besides the awesome styling of course, it had the world's first mechanical 4-wheel steering system available as an option. And for this run, I, like a complete dunce, picked a car without it. Okay, we're going up the hill now, and we see the plane doing the exact same. You see, this circuit is really just some country roads in Germany, right between Frankfurt and Bad Camberg. Bad Camberg. Bad. And so, half of the time we're going up the hill, the other half we're coming down. What a nice symmetry. And yes, I know, people only used to race here up until the 1950s, so this car might look out of place. But hey, give me some twisty B roads, an underpowered Honda, and you'll make me a very happy man. Now, when it comes to this race, obviously the plane won't be able to stick to the roads very precisely. Speaking of the plane, where is it? Well, my point exactly. Hans will have to go pretty wide for some turns, partly because of physics and partly to make this an even fight. That building there, I don't know, a church, a castle, a medieval skyscraper. Hans passed it ages ago, so it really doesn't bode well for the Prelude. Oh, there it is! We can see the plane way in the distance. Well, we don't need to worry just yet. The way that this race works is that the plane will get a lead in the snaking mountain section. There's just no way around it. But the final portion of the track is a massive straight where we gain all of that time back. Speaking of Germans, where is Hans right now, I wonder? Oh, final turn already. Alright, time to step on it. Come on, little Honda, I know you can do it. If you help me beat Hans on my first try, I will be so nice to you. I will change the oil, I will wash you by hand, I will even swap out that piece of shit Chinese stereo for the original one. Just give me some power, baby. Braking markers, it's the final turn, yes! Here we go, the final stretch. I see it! I see the plane! Oh shit, it's too far ahead. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a Subaru Impreza WRX Pagaille. And off the line for the second time. We have upped the horsepower to 227, and we're ready to wipe that smug look off of Hans's face. As per usual, we give him a bit of space for the takeoff, but then, I promise, we start wiping. With all those years of rallying legacy, surely this will be an easy feat for the Subi. Into the town we go. The residents are definitely thrilled to hear that turbocharged boxer engine echoing through the town. I'm just doing my part for the local culture. Coming into the first proper turn now, we brake early enough. Don't want to crash and give Hans the satisfaction. Shit, curb the wheels on the exit, no matter. The car seems to drive straight enough and I wanted to get some new wheels anyway. Now, what can I tell you about this car? There's the shadow. So the plane is right above us. Right, the car. You can instantly tell that this is more or less a modern car. Compared to the Honda, it has a very soft suspension, a ton of body roll, but worst of all is the understeer. Even though it has so much power on the Prelude, it feels kinda slow around these turns, which is why we need to utilize the straights even more. Let the power do the talking. The first proper straight and seems that we are a bit closer to the plane this time, but not by much. Let's get into the mountains and give this car a proper shakedown. We can even imagine we're on a rally stage. Now, I know, people are very divided on the looks of the Pagaille, but as for me, I love it. Looks very freaky. And in our case, we got the wagon too, which means we can pack all the schnitzel we want. There's the plane in the sky. Doesn't seem too far off. Maybe we do stand a chance this time. Look. If we win, I will take back my disrespectful comments about the body roll, suspension and oh god, the understeer. I will get nice new wheels, clean out the garbage, I will even stop vaping in the car. And all you need to do is help me beat a German man in that flying relic. Oh boy, wrestling the car around these mountain roads is amazing. I can only imagine how people felt back in the day when they started racing these roads more than 100 years ago. Now, originally, it was a point-to-point race, a hill climb really. But after World War II, this layout was introduced and I have to say, it's amazing. And even though we are driving this superb piece of early 2000s technology, most of the racing around here was actually done on motorcycles. Those crazy Germans. If only there were motorcycle mods in Assetto Corsa. Oh, there are? Can't wait to get my hands on that. Okay, we're getting sidetracked a little. Let's focus on the topic at hand. We are racing a plane, so where is that tin can?
Haha, you can take your bug-eyed piece of Scheiße back to Japan. You will never beat the mighty plane, Arschloch.
Okay, he's at the final turn. No worries, we're not too far from it either. Is the Subaru really gonna come through? There are the braking markers. Just don't put the car in the wall. Brake, brake, brake! Wow, you really have to brake much earlier than you think around here. Come on, Subi, it's the home stretch. Show me what that boxer engine is capable of. Hans, I'm coming for you, you sauerkraut-eating, lederhosen-wearing sky goblin. Can we get him? Doesn't look like it. He's crossing the finish line now. Good effort, Subi, but not good enough. I think it's time to break out my secret weapon. Aha, didn't expect that, did you, Hans? Surely a German car should be able to beat a German man in a plane. Let's show him how it's done. This, ladies and gentlemen, is full-on German-on-German action. Is the plane going to be able to take off? Of course it is. I should have known never to doubt Hans's abilities. Coming into town, let's give the people what they want. A big, juicy slide.
Stop bragging the verdammte Auto, du Arsch mit Ohren.
Coming around the 90-degree turn, the car feels and sounds great. And did I mention that it slides great? It does. it does slide quite great. Let's give Hans a run for his Deutschmarks. Now, most of you are probably very well informed about the E30 M3, but for the uninitiated, let me just rattle off a few stats. This is a 1986 BMW M3, or as people from Eastern Europe call it, the Hooligan. This particular car is fitted with a 2.5-liter four-cylinder engine, putting out about 235 horsepower. Now, coming onto the straight, how are we doing? I do feel like we're much closer to the plane this time. That's promising. As we climb the mountain, I hear you ask, "Hey, what's the big deal with this car? It only has 8 more horsepower than the Impreza." Well, I'm glad you asked. You see, this car right here was made as a homologation special. So, basically a race car. That means upgraded suspension, upgraded brakes, limited slip differential as standard, all new body panels, except for the bonnet and the roof. And what's the point of all that? The handling. Essentially, BMW had to build this car if they wanted to go racing. And go racing they did. 5 wins at 24 hours of Nürburgring, 4 wins at Spa 24 hours. They even went rallying with this thing. Granted, the car was not very competitive on loose surfaces, but it was very effective on asphalt, which is what we're banking on today. And let me tell you something. If you want to forget all of your sim racing or real-life troubles, just take the M3 for a spin around these German roads and you will have the time of your life. Okay, we're approaching the highest point of the hill now, just to our left. It's called the Grosser Feldberg and is the highest point of the entire Rhenish Massif. So I guess you can say that it's all downhill from here. Now at this point in the race, we can start estimating the end result. When we see the plane again, we'll know that it's making the final turn. And if we're close enough, we can start to ballpark our chances. Now once we take that last turn, we can full throttle this baby to the finish line. And the top speed of this thing, around 240 kilometers an hour, where the plane can maybe do 160 if there is no headwind. Any minute now. There it is. I can feel it. We're closer than ever. Hans is going left, so he has made the last turn, but we're not too far ourselves. Here it comes, keep it together. 250, 200, 150, 100, brake, 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 stop the car. No, shit. Okay, we're okay. The car feels straight. We can worry about the dents later. All we need to do now is just floor it and cross our fingers. There he is, I can see him. We're much closer this time. Come on, push, push, push. Off the line again, and this time we're thinking out of the box. The plane has some sort of radial engine, so maybe we need to bring some whack engine as well. This time we're using a Wankel, conveniently attached to a 1991 Mazda RX-7. Now by this point, most of the residents of Oberreifenberg have moved away, and only the engine sound enjoyers have stayed. Good riddance. What world do we live in, where we are not allowed to rev our engines to our heart's content? Let me tell you something. If the M3 was fun, then the RX-7 is fun turned to 11. Front-engined, rear-wheel drive, a funky engine that puts out around 276 horsepower. What's there not to like? Says he, while doing a massive slide. My point exactly. It may not be the fastest way around the corner, but it is the most exciting. Almost as exciting as trying to convince my accountant that I do need to spend ridiculous amounts of money on engine oil. Okay, we're coming on to our benchmark straight. And the plane is right there. I would say that we're closer, but not by much. Is the RX-7 all talk and no walk? Let's find out on the mountain. If the car is good enough for Mount Akina, I also expect it to perform well here in Germany. You know, I had lunch with Hans earlier today, and turns out he's not such a bad guy after all. It's just that he has raced here so much, he truly believes that he and his trusty old plane cannot be beaten around this circuit. And I mean, yeah, the plane is cool. It can take shortcuts, the view from up there is probably awesome, but come on. If I have learned anything from watching Top Gear over and over, is that ultimately the car always wins. Always. Oh geez, that was some creative cornering. But hey, mistakes happen, especially when you're pushing hard. Thankfully, this one didn't cost me any time. Alright, we're up in the mountain now. The car feels great. It feels fast. Soon enough, we should be able to spot the plane and estimate our chances. I mean, listen, I don't have anything against Hans, but the way that man talks, someone has to put a dent in his ego. It just cannot continue like this. And to make matters worse, he gets more smug after every single win.
That silly man. He thinks he can beat my plane in das Auto. I haven't heard anything that crazy since Matilda claimed that she was the king and queen of cheese. What a joke. He must have really hit his head when he was little or something.
Here we are, the final turn. Don't mess it up now. The car bogs down a bit. Come on, we can do it. Unleash the fury of that rotary engine. I see the plane, I see it. We're so close. Come on, Mazda, you can do it. Yes, yes, yes. I am the best sim racist in the world. Suck it, Hans.
Suck it, Hans.
So, what have we learned today? Well, first, we need to keep our emotions in check. Second, the iconic Mazda RX-7 is quicker than a 100-year-old plane. Who would have thought? And third, the power of Christ compels you to subscribe and go check out this other awesome video next. Good day!